Turn it down.
Turn it way down.
Jesus.
Turn
it off. Yeah, turn it off. Yeah, what are we talking about? Turn it off. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Losers Lounge. Nuggets get absolutely
do a short show.
Mauled by the Grizzlies.
Not Jamal.
Not Jamal at all. Mauled by the Grizzlies, 112-94. 112-94, guys. Doesn't sound bad at all.
Pretty good game.
Well, you know, it's kind of close.
We got severely mundered.
Oh, God, we did get mundered.
I was laughing about that, like the whole intro segment in the pregame about how
What was the last time we got mundered?
Scoring is at an all-time high in the NBA. We're like, scoring's out of control. It's disgusting. We have to do something about that. The Nuggets heard us, and they took matters in their own hands.
They're like, these guys are getting a little too comfortable.
We'll show you what it's like to not score.
I tell you what, man. I tip my hat to the Denver Nuggets. I've always said this, the difference between Nuggets fans and Lakers fans. The Nuggets repeatedly teach you how to be humble.
Oh, we know, dude. We got our master's degree in humility this night.
We really did. We're presented as always by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Guys, I know we didn't win the game tonight,
sure,
but we also lost every bet.
Not a good night. Terrible night all around.
You're never going to win bets when your starters have to just give up halfway through the third when
That's
it's like
true.
we're throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
I literally didn't even win my Jokic turnover bet. He only had 3.
Bro. He didn't play enough, yeah.
He didn't play enough to get more. I feel like you were right but wrong on that bet.
I was right but wrong.
But good news, everybody. Eric's back.
Hey, guys.
Eric, you know what? You can go back to Serbia.
Yeah, that's a sentiment shared by
We're
most
gonna
people
book
in my
your
mentions.
flight in a little bit.
What were the mentions like
we'll
tonight?
see you in a week.
I would say that they started off I felt very popular to going into the night, and now I feel less popular. I feel like a good number of Nuggets Nation blames me personally. I don't blame them. I feel the same way. Fuck me.
I feel like the blame is partly on you, partly on Dev.
Yeah, man. Did we ever think about
for
that?
uttering the S word a few games ago.
Dev's not here. Vote's not here. Maybe they took the vibes with them.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe they did. Abandoned us. And then I do have Harrison Wind over here.
It makes it even worse that this was a terrible night. Worst loss, one of the worst losses of the season, because the bar was absolutely packed tonight with a crowd that was just wanting to pop off at any moment, and the Nuggets couldn't deliver.
We should do a power ranking or potentially a snake draft of the worst elements of tonight.
That's a good fourth segment idea. Yeah.
So dumb, man. So dumb all around. Guys, you want a fast breakdown?
No.
Let's go through it. Actually, look at
the
this.
Nuggets had a very fast.
Look at this one.
Wow,
Look
the
at
Nuggets
this
had a very, very fast breakdown. That reminds me of my note taking in all of school.
I'm going to go line by line. Number one note: Jokic got a new scar. Right off the gate. Right off the gate, he gets a new scar.
That was the first sign of a lot of bad signs tonight.
And the first time ever, he gets a new scar, and he was pissed, man. He was pissed tonight.
He was pissed because he didn't get a foul call.
That was a good one, too. That wasn't like a little scratch. That was a good one. He was furious. I was like, oh, he's going to go to Terminator
And then
mode.
the ref wouldn't stop the game. Jokic was like, look at my scar. Look at my...
It's like, I'm bleeding all over the court.
I'm literally bleeding on you, and you're not stopping the game.
The Nuggets went ice cold in the start this game, and this was part of it, man. Like, we're going to break down, but this way there's not that many notes. Ice cold to start the game. Just 1 of 9 from 3 to start. Turns out that wasn't a cold spell. That was just the average that they were going to get from the night. The Grizzlies, 50%, they were actually playing pretty well. I don't even know if the Grizzlies were playing great offensively, but they were knocking down most of their shots, or half their shots. And then the bench comes in. As soon as Denver was actually only down 1. You make a first sub, and I don't know what the run was, 30-2, 30-4, 30, something like that. 28-20 Grizzlies at the end of the first. Bench got absolutely pummeled. They looked horrible on offense. They looked horrible on defense. And by the time the starters checked back in, the game was over. I mean, they were down 20-something points by the time you get everybody back on the court. That's it. Actually, second half. I went to Illegal Pete's.
Yeah, it's true.
I literally went to Illegal Pete's at third quarter.
I've never seen Adam leave the bar in the middle of a game.
I pulled a Bones.
I was just about to say.
He pulled a Bones Island. He left
Pulled a use
the
of
bar
Nurkic.
in the middle of the game. I've never even seen that in a preseason game.
All right.
That's how bad it was.
What had happened was tonight was our big event with Rivals, a nice nonprofit that
Supports
raising money
Alzheimer's.
for Alzheimer's research. Now here's the thing, we had such a busy bar tonight. I was like, I kind of had to wait too long for food, so I left. I went to go get some illegal.
Yeah,
Pete's.
listen, as the main beneficiary of this move, I appreciate it. Adam brought me reverse nachos with chicken. It was delightful. All the same, shameful performance by Adam. Shameful performance by the Denver Nuggets. Nothing but thumbs down and boos all around. No one deserves anything.
Oh my God, it was a rough one. All right, let's turn it up. Win, start us off. What's your big takeaway from tonight? You got to have a big takeaway.
Well, Jack White looked great. I mean, let's just start there.
You're joking. Can I tell you something? I'm going to have some Jack White takes, but go on. I have some Jack White takes.
We'll get to him. My biggest takeaway is that the Nuggets bench is very, very concerning. Very concerning because the two new pieces that they've brought in look so out of sorts right now. The Nuggets bench has no idea what they're doing, and those two pieces, Reggie Jackson and Thomas Bryant, are supposed to be the main two pieces on the second unit. And those two guys just look like they've got no idea what they're doing. That unit as a whole doesn't look like they have any idea what they're doing. And it's concerning. They were awful tonight. That's when this game really got out of hand in that first bench stint. The starters came out. I don't think the starters had great energy or great process or were really intense to open the game either. The Nuggets got down, but then the bench just, let the bottom drop out from it, and they were awful. But Michael Malone's running the 5-man bench lineup. We can talk about that, if we want. But just those 5 guys look really bad together. I don't know if that unit has a lot of potential to look great together in the long run.
The Avs just scored
We're
again.
having an Avs party. They've got 2 goals in 8 minutes.
It's really concerning.
Adam, this is my formal petition to join the Avs beat, just FYI.
I love that big takeaway. I actually think it's the appropriate one. There's a lot of
is.
other stuff. Let's stick on it before I get to your big takeaway here. I mean, he's right. This was a really discouraging game for the bench. And I said in our last show, we can't judge the bench for the first week. You almost give them 1 week, no judgment, and then after that start to form opinions. And I stand by it. But games like this, it makes it tough. When you say, hey, prepare, it's going to be bad, and then you give this night, you're like, oh my God, I thought I was prepared, but here I am.
Reggie Jackson's best play through 2 games as a Nugget was his 3-quarter court shot.
So that's rough.
That's rough.
And he's just looked bad so far. Thomas Bryant's looked really bad. Bruce Brown, we've said this all season, but he's way more effective when he's playing with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic than he is when he's playing with 4 other bench guys around him. That's been the case all year, so no big surprise there. But yeah, I don't have a lot of hope for that 5-man bench to look great at any portion. I think they can look competent. I don't think they'll ever look great, but they've looked really, really bad so far.
Horrific. I mean, you have to at least... The one benefit of the doubt that you can afford them is that it's not... We still need to have Aaron Gordon come back, which would put Vlatko probably into the bench in place of Uncle Jeff. Not that... he was honestly the best person on the bench, Uncle Jeff. So I don't know how much that helps them, but at least if we're talking about chemistry and cohesion...
And it will take time to build that chemistry, too. It's only 2 games into the Reggie Jackson era. But, hasn't been encouraging.
It was rough, man. That was a rough watch through and through. The Denver Nuggets looked so helpless, so hapless. Michael Porter Jr. looked so bad. I cannot believe how shook he looked. Like, Jamal Murray didn't have anything. I mean, there are times when, there are so many games in an NBA schedule, so many things that can happen. There are games like this. You have games like this where, they just couldn't put the ball through the basket, which is honestly, like, not that uncommon in Memphis for whatever reason. Like, teams oftentimes, at least the Nuggets, throughout the years have found, like, just anecdotally, I can just remember, like, lots of times in Memphis where they couldn't score for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the Nuggets have the best home record in the NBA. The Grizzlies have the second best home record in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't even know if I would attribute tonight's loss to the Grizzlies playing well or the Nuggets playing poorly. But I feel like it's a little bit more of the latter than the former. I mean, the Grizzlies look good, but, like, the Nuggets just didn't even look like an NBA team like tonight. Like, they just couldn't get anything going. They couldn't, like, they had bad process. They had bad results. The bench, obviously, as you so eloquently put, was god-awful, had nothing to offer anybody. And, like, when the starters came back in, like, it just felt like a fait accompli at that point. Like, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still thought that they would be competitive at a certain point. They just, at no point were the Nuggets ready to play.
They really weren't.
At no point did they make any sort of, like, push or give you any sort of hope. I mean,
they didn't look like they wanted this one.
Yeah, like, it was so bad that I'm not even upset. It was like, just like, okay, well, they just took tonight off. Like,
we'll diagnose. We'll get more into this bench because I do think that there's a whole segment we need to do on them. But I want to keep it going with these big takeaways. You can't say the bench, though. You need to.
Well, I mean, I just gave. I didn't wait for the invite. That was my big takeaway.
What?
Just that the Nuggets didn't play. They didn't show up. Like, they just
a
didn't
no-show.
show.
A
They
no-show.
just complete no show. Like, there's just nothing that you like. Truly,
Did
all of
anybody
the big-
show up?
No, Jack White. Good on you, Jack. Thanks for showing up. No, Jokic. I mean, he looked okay, sort of, but guys were getting wide open shots. KCP, who was 100% from 3-point land last game, was probably 0% from it tonight. Michael Porter Jr. didn't have any points through the first half. I think he ended with like 5 points. Like,
He did have 5.
Like what are we doing here? I don't even know how to analyze anything that I just watched.
What I would say is the Nuggets coming back from the break against the Cavs, it felt like there was a focus and an energy to them, and like, hey, it's time for business. And it was such a big win and such a feel-good win that you were like, hell yeah, this is the Nugs. This was a total like regression back to where like it was like, oh my god, because I'm with you, man. They weren't focused in this game. They didn't come out hungry. And I would say that the game to me came down to you make the first sub and it went horribly. Yoke's still on the court, by the way, but you brought in Bruce Brown, you brought in Reggie Jackson, and you brought in Jeff Green. And the wheels started to come off even with Jokic on the court. And then when you go to the full-on bench unit, it went, I think they were a -7 or -8 in the first stint with Jokic and those three. And then when Jokic goes to the bench, by the time Jokic came back in, they were -20.
It got out of hand quick.
They were down 20 points, and I think that the starters came back in, couldn't close the gap, and it was just like, it was almost one of those ones where they kind of looked around and were like, yeah, not tonight, huh, guys? Nope, not tonight. And it's like, damn.
Yep.
F us.
Yep.
So gross.
It sucked. That really sucked.
Here's my big takeaway, and I don't know that it means anything, but I don't know that it means nothing. I kept saying, nobody has made the Nuggets offense look incompetent. Tonight, mission accomplished. Nuggets offense looked absolutely incompetent, and I do think that had as much to do with Denver as anything. But again, this is why I say I don't know if it means something or I don't know if it means nothing, but this is a good defense playing on their gym, and Denver came out tonight and looked like a bad offensive team, including the starters, because it wasn't just that bench. I do think they lost the momentum, but to your point, Michael Porter Jr. going 2 of 10, 1 of 7 from 3, but 2 of 10. Don't love that. Jamal Murray, 3 of 13. That's like, these are the
terrible shots too.
But also, but part of why you get terrible shots is because you're out of rhythm. You can't get good shots. I mean, you're trying. Some of this that's because of what they had to settle for. So, I don't know. What do you think, Wind? Is it something? This is a very good defense, and they play well at home. Is there something to what Memphis did tonight?
I would lean to it being nothing, just because we've seen the Nuggets offense be elite against so many really good defenses this season before.
I remember way back when they beat the number 1 defense in the league.
2 nights ago.
Right.
Yeah, totally. So I would lean towards nothing, but this is a good defense. Jaren Jackson is a guy who's had some great defensive games against Denver. They were missing Steven Adams tonight, who's a big part of what they do, but they have played good defense without him. So I think it was more of just a night from the Nuggets offense where they just never found that rhythm. They didn't get that rhythm in that first stint, and they never got it again. And I think Memphis just kind of capitalized.
Yeah. I just sucks, man. Like, here's my thing. If you start talking about what evidence do you have for the Nuggets to win the title this year, number one piece of evidence, in my opinion, is that nobody can stop them. Because I know everybody, it's like defense wins championships, defense wins championships. And I'm with it. Denver's defense is going to have to get better. But to me, you start with the foundation of there's no defense out there that can guard Denver. And then you get to, can they guard in the clutch? Can they pick their moments? Can they, whatever. Tonight was one of those ones where you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
It's like very few pieces of evidence on the year that this isn't true. But tonight's just one of them.
This was also a potential statement game. And the win against the Cavs was great.
You're right, but it didn't matter.
That was big. They're in the East, though. This is against the Grizzlies, the second team in the West. If the Nuggets would have come out tonight and put it on Memphis, and Joker had like a 30-20-10 game or something, like this would have been a statement win for sure.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was the opposite.
I do wonder, though. Actually, let's talk about
silence.
this. I like this little game of is it something or nothing. I think there might be something to that, too. Like, some teams do take these circumstances personally. Like, there's some type of player that sits in their hotel room, and they're like, oh, man, Memphis just blew that game to the 76ers. They've lost all these. If we beat them, they're only a half game up on the 3 seed. Like, you start salivating, like, oh, my God, we got to make their weekend horrible. Like, let's just ruin their whole weekend. And I don't think Denver's never really been one of those, because I'm with you. This game doesn't really mean a whole lot.
They ruined
my weekend.
Huh? Denver ruined my weekend. Is that what
you think Jokic was sitting in his hotel and he's like, "Oh, D-Line's back? Oh, I bet he's so excited to be in the winners' lounge."
That dude went to Serbia again.
I can't rule it out. I can't rule it out.
He's like, "Wait, watch this. Watch what I'm about to do." Oh, he bet on 3 turnovers?
3.5. It's
3.5? I'll go. I'm going to make this thing so horrible. All right, let's take a break. Those are our big takeaways. On the other side, I do think we need to start to look at this bench and diagnose it a little bit more in depth.
All right, guys, Breckenridge Brewery is the official beer of DNVR. And Breck Brew right now, they're putting on the ultimate giveaway, the ultimate game day experience giveaway for Nuggets fans.
This is super cool.
It is super cool. You got to get on this now. You can win 2 tickets, 2 courtside tickets, row 2.
Courtside fit.
To the New Orleans Pelicans game on March 30th. That's a Thursday. So this is in about a month. 2 tickets, row 2 against the Pelicans, March 30th. You get access to the Lexus Club. You get a parking pass.
What?
You get DNVR gear as well. This is the Breck Brew Ultimate Game Day experience.
And can you imagine being up, sitting courtside and getting that close a look at Zion on the bench?
Well,
can you imagine
on the court.
how close
Holy
you would be right there where he sits? You could see him. That's how
A
close
mountain
it
of a
is.
man sitting on the bench.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. Here's how to enter thednvr.com/Breck Sweeps, BRECKSWEEPS, thednvr.com/Breck Sweeps. Complete the form, must be 21. Links are also in the description. Winners will be selected 1 week before each game.
Breck Brew about to be the official beer of tonight also.
Amen.
I'm about to add to the bottom line of Breckenridge Brewery tonight.
Buy some stock. D-Line's about to fall off the wagon.
Also, the American Raptors, Colorado's rugby team, they joined a new league, Columbia Rugby Federation. Stay up to date with all the news around the Raptors' move to the brand new Super Rugby Americas by following along at DNVR_rugby. That's on Twitter, at DNVR_rugby. Colton Strickler will keep you updated with weekly podcasts and regular written content. Raptors games are free. They play at Infinity Park. Check them out. Really cool. The American Raptors.
I want to go eventually to the bench. I know I teased that that's where we were going to go. Let's save that for another segment. Is it because we're looking for a prop that would make the segment better? Maybe.
We got to keep the audience hooked and
possibly that's why we're going to delay this.
I got to get out.
Well, hold on a second. I want to go instead here. Let's play a little blame game. And I'm going to... Here's a real question I have. I don't like to put everything on Jeff Green because I think he's like a good player. He's been a good guy. He's been all the same. But here's one thing I just wonder. Why, like, this bench unit has some issues in terms of fit and this or that, especially when the game got out of hand. I always wonder why not try some of your other guys. You know who was on the court tonight at the end of the game, really played a lot of minutes, is David Roddy. David Roddy played a lot of minutes. He's been atrocious in the first half of the season. But you know what? It's a long-term, hey, this is a guy, we got to see what he's got. Pick our spots, let's find a moment for him. Sometimes I look at that and I go, like, Jack White, by all accounts, he's been very good in the G League. He's been a good three-point shooter. We know in the summer he had the best three-point, whatever.
Best shooter on the Nuggets.
Elite rebounder. He's been elite rebounder. I have no idea if he's a player.
Very good athlete.
But tonight, I just remember coming out, like, after the Nuggets starters came out and were terrible, I was like, you know what, let's just see what Jack White and Peyton Watson have. I actually think he might be a good
they were plus 10 each.
Well,
yeah, that's what they had.
At that point. But I'm being serious in this and that. That second unit needs some shooting, man. Like, it's going to need some stuff. And I do just wonder, why not play some of these guys? You have such a big cushion. Why not just see what you have?
You have a big cushion in the wrong way, in the wrong direction, so much so that nothing can go worse than it did in the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I like Jack White. I think he's a player. I think he could be, a regular contract guy on the end of the bench next year. So, yeah, why not?
Well, I think this is one of these things where we probably will see something like this. I mean, this is Malone's official calling card, is that he'll go with something 3, 4, 5 games, like a game or two longer than you want him to, and if it's still not working, it's tough. Like, a night like tonight is so tough because you just look at it, you're like, we suck. Everyone sucks. No one can play. We got to make massive changes. What are we doing? But, like,
it's not true for sure.
It's not even close to true. I mean, like, we're the number 1 seed in the West, very comfortably.
5 games now. 5 games up on Memphis.
Am I crazy, though, Wind, in your opinion, and saying I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of Jack White and Peyton Watson in moments like this when it's like...
No, you're not. I mean, we talk about this every year, though,
Yeah.
We talk about this every year. Like, oh, man, can we just... can we just get that end of the bench guy on the court in a blowout? Like,
right.
we talk about that every year. So
no, it's true. And this tonight felt just like so much, almost like an exhibition game. You're like, why? Like, what are we doing? But I mean, they have to make this bench work. They can't already start cutting bait from.
No, I mean
the construction of this bench.
And it wouldn't be cutting bait. It's just.
I mean, at a certain point, we were like, how much more would you rather have Bones Highland and Davon Reed than Thomas Bryant and Reggie Jackson at this point?
Easy.
My main point was really just to say that Jack White intrigues me, like, even weirdly more than Peyton Watson at the moment. Like, Peyton Watson to me, I haven't seen like the pops or whatever, but Jack White, he just looks like a guy that is. I mean,
think Jack White's a player. I do.
He does seem it.
He just is like he knows how to play the game, so his basketball IQ is further along. And then it's just a question of, can he shoot? Because I think he hustles and does some of that other stuff.
And look, we're not saying, he should be in the bench rotation every single night.
Of course not.
We're far from that. That is definitely not what should happen.
What are we saying?
But in a 30-point blowout,
he came in.
What would be the worst thing that could happen?
It's just interesting, I think, sometimes to see the guys that you have on your rosters here and there. Let's go back, though, to talk about Porter. To be honest with you, here's the thing about Porter for me tonight. Nothing really stood out to me. Like, I don't think I have that many notes. It sounds like you have quite a few, though.
Well, I mean, notes being like, I thought he could shoot.
He just missed. But I thought
he just missed. He had.
That's an off night.
Yeah, that was the offense in general. Like, Michael Porter Jr. wide open shots, couldn't hit him. KCP wide open shots, couldn't hit him. Jamal Murray wide open and then heavily contested shots, all the same, could not hit them. Vlatko, I mean, like, it was just a comedy of errors. Like, no one could hit any shots. Like, and then everything just unraveled. I mean, if you can't, it was the exact opposite of last game where the Nuggets would just hit every big shot that they needed to. The 3-point ball was very reliable and it, like, bailed them out of a lot of situations. And tonight they just absolutely shot themselves out of the game very early and they just had no chance. Like, they weren't driving the rim. They just weren't doing anything. It's just, to me, it's like you just burn this film. You don't even watch it.
I think it might be it.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Porter, he shot it pretty well from 3 in 3 straight games. Made 5 threes against Miami, 6 of 10 against Cleveland, 5 of 10 against Dallas, 1 of 7 tonight. It happens.
Yeah, it does. I actually think that's most of tonight in general. I
Sure.
will say this: the Nuggets play the Grizzlies now in 1 week. What does this game do to that game?
I think that the intensity ratchets up quite a bit. I mean, if they show as poorly in the next game as they did tonight, there's cause for some real serious concern. But I didn't feel like the defense was so smothering from the Grizzlies. I mean, maybe you guys disagree. I just was like,
I thought, well, you know what? One thing is Dylan Brooks really disrupts. Like, he full court presses Jamal Murray and tries to slow things up that way. And I do just think it takes you out of your rhythm a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of that. What do you think? What is your anticipation now for the rematch that'll take place next week?
I mean, I think I'm a little different. I kind of view this differently than you guys. Like, I kind of feel like the regular season's done for the Nuggets.
Man, this is actually a good take.
And
the secondary dog days are here.
oh, God damn it! Did the win against the Cavs send us back to the dog days? Damn it!
I just think the regular season is over for the Nuggets. I honestly don't really think they have much else to prove this year, to be totally honest. My only goal for every game is just nobody get hurt and nobody get too tired. I may just like go to the death with that take that I might get killed for that, but this was a game they played really poorly. I'm sure they'll come out and hit 23s tomorrow night against the Clippers.
Big rings culture wins over here. The regular season's a waste of everyone's time.
This is the worst pragmatic win take of all time. It's accurate.
Because
but
it's
the worst
right.
one.
I just hate to hear
accurate.
it. That's something I would never admit to myself. But as soon as Win says it, I'm like, God damn it. He's right. They don't even care anymore. Why do I care?
Yeah.
Honestly,
this team's just trying to get to the playoffs right
honestly, man, like the intensity from the last game to this game for the Nuggets really is like.
And I think you might see that go up and down, like that, those peaks and valleys from game to game a lot here over the next 20 games.
Here's why I hate that though, Wind. Because as much as I'm with you, man.
Goddamn dog days.
We're right back. We're right back. Here's why I hate it. You got the Clippers coming up. I mean, who knows if Denver's even going to play their guys tomorrow night? It's on ESPN.
Yeah.
It's like the Nuggets, of all things, Jokic in particular, just doesn't care about the narrative. And neither do we, except for that you have to combat the narrative. We don't want to create the narrative. We just want to combat it.
I have to wake up every morning, open up the Twitter app, and go to war. Like, that's the battle that we're facing every day.
And we're like,
handle
just dominate this Grizz team and let us talk some trash. He's like, nah, guys, is it really important? We're like, no. All right.
I feel like a 10-year war vet at this point. Like,
well,
I for the longest time, I was fighting Nuggets fans to care about the team.
you rallied them. They're behind you now.
Well, and then now I spent all my time, like all last year, just fighting. The last 2 years, fighting the people of Philadelphia.
Yep.
And like now, it's just like it truly is just like fighting the ocean. It doesn't matter. Just some new combatant arrives. I'm tired, guys. Nuggets. I'm tired, man.
Yeah. But here's my point. You got the Clippers coming up, then you have that Rockets game, and then you have a Memphis game next Friday. Those are big games. After that, you get this. You want to talk about the dog days?
That road
Toronto,
trip?
Chicago, San Antonio, Brooklyn, Toronto, Detroit, New York. They play all Eastern Conference teams. The only Western Conference team they play between next Friday and March 30th. March 30th. The only Western Conference team they play is San Antonio. That's the dog days.
This
you
is
want
what
to talk
I
about
mean
when the games don't matter.
This doesn't matter.
Oh no.
Yeah, but tonight, Malone needs to give him the speech about, guys, listen. This week matters. After that, it doesn't matter. But this week matters.
I will grant you, the last 3 games did not matter. You approached it with the appropriate amount of no energy.
Yeah.
You wasted everyone's time. It's fine. It's the dog days. But now it's time to turn it on.
Isn't that a crazy stat? Listen to that. That's the month of March are 2 Western Conference games. They play Memphis March 3rd, and they play San Antonio March 10th. Every other game in the month is against the Eastern Conference.
This year, more than any other year, the schedule has been so messed up. What happened to the schedule this year?
We say this every year too.
No. This year more than any other year, man.
I've never seen a whole month
We've got
of no-
back-to-backs where there's 23 hours in between games.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
What is going on?
Man, I've never
What
seen.
is happening?
March is also like when you're ramping up. Denver has to ramp up against a bunch of like Washington,
We're not going to be doing any
Detroit.
ramping.
Is the
next
NBA
month gonna suck?
trying to get the Nuggets to quit being a part of the NBA? They just resign.
Okay, now you're catching on.
Oh, God damn it.
God.
I need the Nuggets to care. Do we want them to care tomorrow night?
I want them to care every game, man. Like, but
They'll
don't
care tomorrow night because they're at home.
Okay, well, but it's a
So you
bad
think they're going to play their guys?
I don't know if they'll play their guys.
I'm
though,
always a
but-
little leery. Like, I know now I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth because I want them to care and I want them to play, but I'm always a little bit worried about 3 games and 4 nights off of a week off. You want to talk about where your body's most prone to, like...
Yeah.
Well, luckily
injury.
for them, the starters didn't play half this game.
So true, man. So true.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we can finally diagnose the second unit's problem.
Oh, thank God.
I'm not going to tell you
Let's go.
what profit is we might use for that.
Let's dive deep.
Guys, at DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got this thing called the NBA No Sweat Same Game Parlay going on right now. And that is very handy to have on nights like tonight. Because if you listen to us in the pregame show, we handed out some bets. We did not hit any of them tonight. But if you use the DraftKings No Sweat Same Game Parlay and bet, say $5, $10, I think 10 is the max you can use on that, and you missed your parlay, you get it back. You get a free
I bet you missed your parlay
$5 or
tonight.
$10 bet tomorrow. So get on this. Make sure you're opting into that No Sweat Same Game Parlay on DraftKings Sportsbook when you're placing your same game parlay bet. That's on DraftKings Sportsbook, so make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up with code DNVR. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Backus and Schenker, they win for Colorado families, and you don't pay them any money, not a single dime, until they win your case. No upfront fees.
Will they at least listen to my class action lawsuit against the Denver Nuggets for tonight?
Though they might listen.
Okay. All right.
You don't have to pay them anything.
I'll just keep pressing the number 2 until I find out.
They're probably also going to lose that case, so you won't have to pay them anything the entire time.
Let's go.
Because you only win if you only pay them if they win your case. They've won over $1 billion for Colorado families and for their clients. They've got offices in Denver, Aurora, Englewood, and Fort Collins. Backus and Schenker, they help with any kind of injury case. Emotional injury, I don't know.
Dude, I'm wounded over here.
I'm going to say no on that
I am
one.
wounded over here.
Injury cases where you weren't at fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks. They can even help you if you're injured at work. Call them today. They've got the easiest phone number to remember, 222-2222. To find out if you have a case for free, Backus and Schenker wins.
Tonight's Backus and Schenker, I'm going to give it to Dylan Brooks, Xavier Tillman.
God damn it.
They were Backus and Schenker tonight.
Which one's Schenker?
It's got to be Brooks. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Actually, Tillman literally
Schenker
shanked
vibes.
Jokic's arm.
That's a
so-
great
Yeah,
point.
there
That's a
you
great
go.
point. That's you want to talk about an injury lawsuit?
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic, man.
Yeah, he does. He should call him up.
Start
See if
pushing
there's
two, man.
anything. All right, guys. Let's. We got to diagnose this bench, and to do that, I think we need to call on a doctor. Is there a doctor in the house? Oh my God!
I have a prop stethoscope. I think I qualify.
Somehow we lost my doctor costume.
Very
Pissed about this.
Wait, what was the doctor costume?
It was a lab coat.
White lab coat.
White
Okay.
lab coat. Somehow we lost it. I'm
I bet I
very
know.
upset about that.
I'll find it. I'll diagnose not only the bench but your lost doctor costume.
I hope so, man. I hope so. All right, Doc. We got to talk about this bench here.
Sure.
We're having a hard time right now with our scoring.
Uh-huh.
Scoring has really been.
You can speak into the
yeah,
stethoscope.
it's scoring hasn't been great.
Sure.
I would say defense has also not been all that great.
Okay.
Is there anything you think might be going on with me right now?
Wow. I would first run some tests to see if your focus is on.
You know what? I think focus for the bench unit has been on. There's some guys that are new here that want to make a strong impression. You got a young player who needs to make a strong impression. I actually think the guys there are very motivated to not suck.
You've got a veteran who's been in the league for
That guy
15
probably doesn't
years,
care. That guy probably doesn't care as
who
much.
just might still be in the dog days.
Oh God! Have we diagnosed? Are we taking in too much greens?
Listen,
over here?
yeah. Well, athletic greens, no. Players named green, yes. We are suffering from green overload on the Denver Nuggets, green toxicity. I think also we got to check the T levels. We got a low T problem here on the bench.
I don't know what that means in the context of this.
Just
Is that
testosterone.
testosterone. Okay.
They didn't come out with any heart. They came out with no. There's no connect, and it actually stands for teamness.
No teamness.
Low teamness on the second.
Almost
unit.
like we're missing Mr. Nugget.
Almost like we're missing Mr. Nugget. It feels as though we've had a Mr. Nugget-ectomy that is we're feeling the ripple effects throughout. It's like having one's heart removed and then trying to perform.
You know what though? You were kind of joking about this, but like he didn't make the trip. AG didn't make the trip.
I mean, Nikola Jokic called Aaron Gordon the soul of this team.
He did?
Yeah, earlier this season.
I don't remember this.
Yeah.
That's like one of the seminal quotes of this year. The
All right.
soul of this team.
They
They
had
were
a-
without their soul tonight.
Yeah.
And he also said that this is his favorite team he's ever played on ever. And tonight was my least favorite team watching experience of my entire life. I've never seen a team I enjoyed less than tonight's Denver Nuggets.
I do think we're missing. I mean, I do think that's probably part of it, but that's not gonna. I think there's more. What do you think, Harrison? I mean, what's your diagnosis?
So my biggest diagnosis is Michael Malone's playing a 5-man bench right now. He's playing a 5-man bench with 2 new players who have never played together and who are new to this team, Reggie Jackson and Thomas Bryant. And that group looks like it's never played together.
Low teamness.
No teamness, exactly. And I mean, that being said, like, I don't think if they do establish a chemistry and they do all get on the same page, I don't think, in 15 games they're suddenly going to be running teams off the court. I don't think this bench unit has a super high ceiling, but like they can definitely be better than they are tonight. And that being said, I'm actually in favor of the 5-man bench at this point in the season. I said this on last show too, because the main objective right now and over these last 20 games has to be to stay healthy and not tire out your starters. It's going to look ugly. There are going to be some really ugly bench stints with 5-man benches. Like tonight wasn't the last one of those that we're probably going to see. But I would tell you, try to see the forest through the trees. That's what Michael Malone is trying to do. He's trying to play the long game here. And he's trying to make sure his starters are as energized as possible for when the games really count in the playoffs.
So
I'm a fan of that.
So what you're saying is this is more like the keto flu. Sometimes you have to get sick
The what?
to get the toxins
keto
out.
flu.
The keto, like you start a new diet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel like
And your body tells you it's obviously not healthy for you. But
Yeah.
You just gotta.
it's getting rid of the toxins.
Yeah, you just gotta work
dude.
right through it.
Just getting
Yeah.
rid of the toxins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the toxins.
I think you're mostly right, but here's the thing, D-Line. I said we have to wait. We have to wait. Give this thing a week before we go.
All right.
What do you think this bench looks like fully functioning? How does it operate?
Well, I had high hopes that we would get some sort of lob game between Reggie Jackson and Thomas Bryant. I don't
think he's a lob guy though.
Who? Which?
Thomas Bryant.
Really? I thought that
I
was
remember
kind of like,
him throwing down some lobs
Yeah,
on
that
the
was-
Nuggets
that was
when
what
he
I-
was on the Lakers.
But I'm just saying, I don't think he's like a classic prototypical.
He's a
lob
dunker,
threat
though.
guy.
He's a dunker.
He's a dunker, but I anticipate a little bit more inside-out game. Right now, it's just outside, shoot it, deep shot from 3, kind of half-heartedly working around. It's just like they're not doing anything. There's no process. They're not driving. The only time that they have anything that we can actually diagnose as a play is when it's a Jeff Green ISO, and then that's ends up comically as you would expect, or it results in almost nothing or whatever. I mean, it's just like there's nothing happening.
They're running around with their heads cut off.
Absolutely.
Right now. That's what they are.
They're not. Yeah, and it's just there's no. I mean, I expect that Reggie Jackson actually comes in in time and seizes control of the bench a little bit more. Right now, there's nobody's running anything. Like, he's bringing the ball up, sure, but it doesn't feel like you have somebody that's like Jokic is running that offense, right? There's nobody running the offense for the bench. But the most concerning part for me is that their defense has not been good either.
Right.
Like, we had sort of talked about the idea that, you throw a Christian Brown in there, Bruce Brown, you have these guys that are primarily or supposedly defensive stalwarts, and so it's okay if they don't score so long as they're not allowing the other team to score. So it's sort of just like kicking the can down the road. We're just kind of staying flat, waiting for the Nuggets starters to come back in. But tonight it was just like what are we doing? They can't score, they can't defend. There's just nothing that you can point to. And I just think, I really think it's going to come from guys literally just learning who the other person is, like learning about Reggie Jackson learning about them, and like building up that level of trust, and then finding out, where guys like the ball, all that stuff. There's like a real pickup game level of energy to this bench unit. And Thomas Bryant is just like, honestly, to this point, useless. And I watched him play so dominantly against Jokic, and so I just can't believe, and I can't buy, and I can't accept that this is like what it is we're going to be getting out of Thomas Bryant, because it's been such a negative.
Well, 4 shots in 21 minutes is your first indication. Like, let me back up. Here's what I think is wrong with the Nuggets right now with the second unit. Identity. And some of this is natural. This is why I said you need to give a week. Remember when they first took Bones out of the lineup and you played an all-defensive lineup and they couldn't score, but my God, no one could score on them. You remember that?
Oh,
you had hopes that, hey, maybe this lineup, that's their identity. They're going to be this type of thing. Things changed. They never really played a bunch of games in a row. But now you have this new one, and the question to me is, what is it you're trying to do? What is your identity?
Exactly.
Where do you go to? And this is why I said you have to be patient with them. I don't know if this is a defensive lineup. I don't know if it's an offensive lineup. I think it's more of just like
I'm sure there's a basketball lineup.
I just think it's more of a like you're going to be okay on defense and okay on offense lineup.
Agreed.
I think that's the goal for Denver. But here's the thing. Where does that offense come from? Because tonight, to your point, Jeff Green, I'm so curious to see if he's still there whenever Aaron Gordon comes back. But right now, I would say he is the loudest member of the group. Loudest as in his fingerprints are on that unit the most.
Yep.
And I think it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, the 19-year veteran or whatever.
But if you pull him out and say, okay, you replace him with Vlatko Cancar, what is that team's identity? Is it Reggie Jackson, Thomas Bryant pick and rolls? Is it ball is popping, you're moving, everything's moving, you're just playing this like read and react offense? That's the part to me that's most concerning, and I don't want to just because I don't have the answer doesn't mean I don't want to rule it out entirely. But I will say that through 2 games, it's the biggest question in my notebook is like, what is it that they're going to be successful doing?
What are they?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Whatever it is, it's got to have a focus on Thomas Bryant, I think, at least.
I agree, man. 4 shots tonight, and like 2 of them were like
that's
grenades.
The thing, yeah. They were like awkward, like falling away, wrong-footed, 2-handed shots. That was like
grabbed a rebound or a loose ball and shot it.
And he looked really frustrated tonight. Like he looked like he was frustrated because
he looked like he was watching this game.
Had no idea what to do. And I don't blame him because the Nuggets weren't putting him in position to be successful. He was like, randomly trying to like post up on a fast break. And like there was that one possession where he had his man sealed and nobody gave him the ball. And he looked really frustrated because of that. And again, I don't blame him because he should have gotten the ball there. But like Thomas Bryant, based on what we've watched of him this season, he can be a factor in the paint. He can be a factor in the paint. He can score around the rim. He's athletic. He's powerful. He's strong inside. Nuggets, I think their priority number 1 on the bench has to be to put him in position to be a factor.
Yep.
That's got to be the first thing they focus on with that second unit, I think.
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, if you think about who the scorers are on that second unit, it's like Christian Brown, no. Bruce Brown, somehow, sadly, no.
Bruce Brown's getting the brunt of all of this, I feel. He doesn't fit into the, like,
He's been
lineup.
awful with the 5-man bench all year. Like, we know that. He's a really bad fit with that group, just like he was at the start of the year.
I would say this: the tomorrow night's game's a little bit interesting. I would be interested to see if you are going to rest somebody. Isn't Jeff Green a veteran? I wonder if he would rest. I just wonder if Denver would try to play another guy and just say, this bench, man, we know that 5-man unit, if we're going to commit to it, needs a little bit of spacing. They need scoring from somewhere, and do we have that? Maybe they don't have it, but I'd be going. How long before you're going to want them to start staggering, Wind?
I don't want them to stagger.
So you would just say, ride this thing straight to hell.
Honestly, ride this for the rest of the season. I really think you're going to have some really bad games like this. I don't think it's going to be this bad every game. You might be in the -5 space every game. But honestly, man, and this might sound crazy, honestly, I think it's worth it to play the starters less in the long run. I do.
But you're talking about, I'm of two minds on this.
Mainly, that's just Jamal Murray.
But
that's just Jamal Murray.
I'm of two minds on this because Jamal Murray is coming back from an injury, so that kind of tells you, okay, you want to be measured in your approach, and you want to limit his minutes. But he's also a young guy, and you kind of want him to get iron tested and
No, you don't, man. You do not at this point in the regular season.
I don't know, man.
Coming off an ACL in one knee, coming off soreness in the other knee.
Also, that's not a test you need.
That is the last thing you
have
want
3
right
games
now.
off, 3 days, 2 or 3 days off between every game.
I guess so. I don't know. Him playing an extra 5 to 6 minutes a night, then
That adds up, though.
But I think that adds up in the positive. I think it's working out makes you stronger, doesn't make you weaker.
I think Harrison's right. I think Harrison has the take of the day. There's good and bad to every circumstance, but the bad of the Nuggets being so good,
if they're gonna
we're back in the dog
If they're
days.
gonna give up a 20-0 run every night, that might not be a good long-term outlook. But I would just bank on that not happening every night.
All right, let's take our final break. On the other side, we'll wrap up this Losers Lounge with some Super Chats. We have 9 Super... Get your Super Chats in now.
We have
9
Super
sickos.
Chats.
9 sickos in the chat.
Yeah, and just so you know, anybody that sends us a Super Chat, we will be sending the police to your home for a wellness check.
Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of DNVR. They've got polos, hats, golf bags. They've got the beer sleeve as well. Keep 7 beers cold inside your golf bag for an entire round. That's 4 hours at least.
Depends. Unless you go on a Saturday, that can easily be a 5-hour ordeal.
Pinsandaces.com. Use the code DNVR. Get 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. They're family owned. They're based right here in Colorado. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of DNVR. Use the code DNVR. Get 15% off your order and free shipping at pinsandaces.com.
Quick little around the association because this game just wrapped up. Did you guys see the ending of the Celtics 76ers game?
No, I heard about it, though.
If Dev was here, he would have been watching it during the game. He would have told us everything that happened.
Here's what happened. The Celtics, a tie game with 6 seconds left.
Wait, who's even playing Celtics? Who?
And the 76ers.
Oh, baby.
Really good, really big one. In Philly, I believe. And Jason Tatum hit a 3, dribbles, almost falls down, stops on a dime, and hits a 3 with 1.7 seconds left. They go up 3. Embiid gets the inbound, heaves it 3/4 of the way court, drains it to tie on his fingertips with 0.1 left.
Jeez.
Just too late. So they lose. But he actually hit it.
Oh
That's
my
why
God.
he's the MVP.
Yeah, but he was 0.1
That's why
seconds
he's
late.
the MVP right there.
So Celtics get the big win there. By the way, that's a big one. I mean, the
God
rest.
damn it. This game was supposed to be equally big.
It was supposed to be. And the
God
Nuggets,
damn it. Nuggets,
they never take
tear
it
my
seriously
heart
for
out.
us.
Let me check.
But they
I
did
got
go up.
nothing.
So the Celtics go up 3 games in the loss column on the 76ers, which is really meaningful. The 76ers, had they won tonight, would have had a very realistic chance at trying to get the 1 seed or 2 seed or whatever. This one, the odds just went way up that they're going to be the 3 or 4 seed. So kind of a big one. All right, let's get some Super Chats. You want to read, Eric?
Sure. Let's see if I can read them. Okay.
S2.
S. Williams, our homie.
S2.
Dude, unbelievable. What a train wreck of a basketball game. Double exclamation point. Couldn't agree more. Wanted the Nugs to get up for this game, and they dropped a dud. Single exclamation point. Back to ball for W Manana. Joker with -20. Oh, my.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
Jokic, by the way, I looked this up. Last year, he was a -20 twice. The year before that, once. This season, it's the first time he was a negative 20. So
Wow.
there you go.
All right, from our man R33VO. This loss is on Deb for
say it.
saying
Don't-
the S
don't
word.
say it.
Why
There
would
you
I
go.
say it? You think I'm an idiot? Everybody already blames this game on me. Why would I double down and say the S word? I think I need
man.
that kind of.
I don't think that's fair because here's the thing. They played a game and won, and then they played a game and lost. You can't blame. Like, you don't just get to...
I don't know, Adam. I mean, the basketball gods are always watching.
Yeah,
I like that they're just late. They're like,
Yeah,
sorry.
It took a while.
They're
for,
just lurking.
Yeah, it took a while for Jamal Murray to tear his ACL after we said it the first time.
Anytime. Jesus.
Well, it's true.
Eric's
Let's see.
energy,
What is...
man.
dude, it's bad. Go back to Serbia. That's right. 55555-ish. This money is to help fund D-line back to Serbia.
All right. Well,
If not, it's going towards a real ATA graphic.
Nope, that one here.
We will bounce back tomorrow for sure. Go Nuggets. You know what? Venmo me that. I'll make a new graphic. Freddie says, relax. I feel like we needed to be humbled a little bit.
Man, I love this
Still
take.
loves this team. We'll be fine.
I love this take because I'm with it, man. Nuggets needed to be humbled. Actually, here's my real take, or my real Silver Linings take. I do not want the Nuggets to be favorites.
No.
I want them to be the 1 seed, but I don't want it to be like there's a scenario where the Nuggets race to 60 wins down the stretch and they just keep winning, and then it's
Yeah.
like, no, I want it to be nobody's
They're not
talking
getting
about
to
them.
60.
But it's like the Nuggets need to be humbled. What are you talking? The Memphis Grizzlies started the entire season dancing before every game. Like
I love that you're dancing
like,
now, the points.
but the Nuggets are the most humble team in the world. They have Nikola Jokic leading their squad. Like they got humbled all the All-Star break. We don't need to be humbled. We need to be pumped up.
57 years of being humbled.
We're
really.
humble, dude.
We're so humble.
We are humble.
Like Job over here.
We don't have a proud
Keep giving
bone in
us
our
tests.
bodies, man.
Like,
God
hold on, I'm
damn
not
it.
sure. Let's test him again.
I know.
Boils.
Keep testing. Right.
Boils
Kill
across
another
the body.
son. Kill one more son. Okay.
right, whatever. We got
let's
too
see.
biblical there.
KW. I'm sorry.
I feel real bad for you.
KW says, if our guards can attack downhill to get some baskets in the paint, the Nugs won't have to rely so much on their three-point shooting. I believe this will add a dimension to their game. Like they normally do.
We're the number 1 offense in the NBA. Of all time, excuse me.
This is what happens, man.
yeah.
A game like this, like, erodes every good thing that you've ever seen about your basketball team. I mean, truly, every Nugget sucked tonight.
They are
Every
the number
goddamn
one
Nugget
three-point
sucked.
shooting team. I think they average the fewest drives per game in the league, though.
But that's a function of their offense with Jokic.
Totally.
They've
Totally.
always been
Totally,
low
yeah.
on drives. so-
Totally.
Let's see. KW continues to say, generally speaking, that last part of the regular season carries no correlation to
True.
playoff success, a la every playoff team ever. Not worried about tonight's result in the long form. What he's saying, if I can summarize it, we're in the dog days.
We're in
Nothing
the dog
matters.
days. No, Matt Moore's big on this, that he did a deep dive one time and found there's no correlation between like how you finish the season and how you play in the playoffs. So you always think like you got to build momentum going in,
Right.
and apparently there's no such thing. There's across all time or
Love
whatever.
that.
I will, yeah. You still want to see a team building certain like habits or whatever.
sometimes-
Even though it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it doesn't matter, but like, this was my Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like life matters. Like, what are we
Life
doing?
does matter.
Why
Vibes matter.
Vibes
do
matter. People's
That
time
matters.
matter. Excitement matters. Things matter. All right. So play the fucking game, would you please? All right. What's next? Josh says we're still first. D-line is back. We're sweet, mate. I love that. I knew a guy from Australia that I worked with, and he always gave you everything you wanted. He'd end almost every sentence with the word mate, and I was like, it's awesome. That's what you want.
I'm surprised you didn't come back ending every sentence with the word brother.
Brother. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, brother. I should have brought in. I bought some Rocky. I should have brought it in.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Did you really?
Sure did. Bought it at the airport.
And you didn't bring it.
You fake Serb. you bought it at like the duty-free store at the airport?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Exactly what I did. 100%.
fake Serbian.
I know. Well, I was going to try. I should have then just poured it into the Coke bottle that I had
That's
with
what
me.
you should have done. Yeah.
I didn't have time to make my own. Sorry. AJ Walker says, I think Memphis did a really good bothering, in parens, fouling
Slash
Jokic.
scratching.
Yeah, but if Jokic can have a superhuman series due to matchup, do we have a solid plan B?
I think if Jokic can't have a superhuman
yes.
series.
Do we have a solid plan B if we can't rely on Jokic's dominance? No, we don't. Honestly.
No, but no team does. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
I think in a first round series, I don't think Jokic has to be superhuman.
No.
I think he can play an A series.
I mean,
oh, sure, but
Yeah.
First of all, Jokic is superhuman, so
Yeah.
for him to be himself would be a superhuman performance.
yeah, but I mean, like a lot of what.
Jokic can't play bad and the Nuggets win though. That
Yes,
can't
but like
happen.
what needs to happen is that when Jokic makes perfect passes to wide open teammates, they have to hit them.
True.
And then a little something called spacing takes place, and then Jokic is able to operate more clearly, cleanly. It's just
In that vein, though, I will say that the Nuggets will at some point have to win when they can't make a shot.
absolutely.
And so you would hope that. And tonight, look, that they didn't have it in them. Not that it's surprising. But look, I would love for them to win a game this year where they shoot 20% from three against a good team. It'd be awesome if they had because you just need that. You need those reps under your belt.
We have seen gritty wins out of this team,
Yeah.
and we've seen them win in every kind of way.
not
We spent
tonight.
all first part of this or the whole season talking about, oh, this team's different. They win games they would typically lose. All of this stuff. Tonight they just sucked. They just sucked, man.
Yeah.
What was next? All right. R33VO back says, I blame Dev. Hashtag redacted.
Man,
You're not gonna-
people are like, what are they doing?
The people who have the most riding on this playoffs: Jokic,
Yeah.
Dev.
Yes, and Eric. Me and Dev are taking more heat than Michael Porter Jr. tonight. It's sad.
True.
Lanking Ball says, where vote when my guy Jason Tatum hits game
Oh my
winner,
God.
and that's the team to win it all. Oh my
The
God.
funny thing is, vote is in the greater Boston area, probably,
I can't believe I had to read that. You know what? You pay for it, we read it though. That's what happens.
or the greater New England area.
Unbelievable. Yeah, those are not the same areas, just FYI. A good 4 hours away. Ryan, our man, who's in the Boston area, says, can they get that number one overall seed if they have a 5-man bench in every remaining game?
Well, not if they play like they did tonight, because they'd probably lose most of those games. But I don't think the bench will be this bad every night.
They can't be. They won't have jobs. They'll be cut. That was bad, man.
Yeah.
Bad game. All right. Tyler Lee says, hey, guys, Denver Rivals to end ALZ raised $570 at tonight's watch party. Thanks for the love,
That's
DNVR
Tyler,
fan.
yeah.
That is fantastic.
$570 tonight.
Now
That
from
is
people coming in,
fantastic.
Shout out
just
to
making
everybody at the
donations,
bar.
making donations at the bar.
That's awesome.
tonight.
Yeah, if
That's
you want
really
to talk
good
about
to
some
hear.
real silver linings tonight, the bar
Hell
was
yeah.
absolutely popping. Nuggets fans and Avs fans are ready for it. It may be the dog days for the players, but the Nuggets faithful is hungry and they want it. They're ready for community. They're ready for vibes. They're ready to support, and they're ready to believe. And it was just such a beautiful night that was just spoiled so deeply by the performance of the Denver Nuggets. But it just like walking back in here, you know, I've been away for a little bit. It just felt good, man. Like it just feels good to come back and like see this thing that's been building for however long, and like see this familiar faces and see just people willing to wait, you know, for an hour for a table because we had a takeover event happening at the same time. So there was going to be some in and out, and it's very heartening, and it just like makes me feel like that good things are on the horizon.
Absolutely.
I mean, this place was the best place to be miserable tonight.
It was, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I was miserable.
Very
and
glad I wasn't
Misery
at home
loves
just
company.
just by myself for this one. No, in all sincerity though, like we always hear it from people when they come out. They're always like pumped about it and just the experience.
Absolutely.
Met people from New York today.
Yes.
Met somebody from St. Louis.
Met longtime
somebody from
Twitter
Lions.
homies.
Yeah, it was always great.
So beautiful. Do I still have to wear this stethoscope, by the way?
You actually don't have to.
I'm going to take it off. It's actually choking my neck a little bit.
I think I stole that from my children. What else do we have?
Those are all the super chats.
All right.
And again, if you hear a knock at the door, that is the police coming for a wellness check, each and every one of you.
Hit that outro music. Kel, you got to start just bringing up King of the
Yeah,
Game. If we
King
don't
of the
get to it
Game.
when it comes to him, it's
Jack
Jack White. Oh my God, it was Jack White, who apparently doesn't have a photo. So we went with angry Cubs fan Jack White.
This is my favorite photo the internet has ever given us. Nothing is more appropriate. Nothing sums this game up more than
That
this
is the
photo
best
of
freaking
Jack White.
face. That is the best look, man. Just so crotchety. All right, everybody that rode with us, you guys are all first teamers, man. You ride through that losers. There's losers lounge, and then there's like 30-point blowout. Game was over at halftime. And you guys are the real
strap
ones.
a stethoscope to Eric.
Yeah, any losers lounge where a prop comes out.
It's because at halftime we're like, what are we gonna do, guys?
Shit, what are we gonna
What are we
talk
gonna
about
do to
for
make
an
this show
hour?
entertaining? We got to do something. Somebody run somewhere and get a
Right, so we
costume.
have a clown nose for Eric. Yeah.
We should get a clown noses. Everybody, thanks so much. Hit that like button. Guess what? We're back tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
Let's go home.